Hello and welcome to another episode of The Lone Wolf Plays. Today is actually a practiced exercise in Singularity for EVE Online. This particular stream, or actually this is a recording, is my experimentation and testing of a forward operating base solo Praxis, specifically used for Garista's FOBs. I will do my best to keep it as reasonable as possible. However, this will be a slightly longer video because I will be including my test footage. I did cut out about 30 or 40 minutes of video, mostly to not bore people to death with the whole watch as we blow up a stationary object, because it's not exactly the most entertaining thing in the world. So, with that having been said, welcome aboard. Hopefully you get to have a little bit of fun. Maybe come up with a different concept that I haven't thought of. Till then, let's get started. Alright, I chose to skip much of this part because my microphone was not operating within normal operating conditions. So what we got here is I'm warping out towards the location. I will be warping to approximately 1,000 away, which is not exactly a safe location, but it is what it is. At this point in time, I am discussing whether I need to get in, warp out, warp back in, and warp in and then back out, and then go from there. At this point, I'll be dealing with the Kestrels that have jumped in on top of me. As you see, the spawn was the Kestrel battleship spawn. I actually had no issues maintaining my shield health during this point in time. Obviously, this is not the most demanding of them. But you'll also notice that during this point in time, I also had my afterburner and reps on. And you're going to see that this particular section actually drops my capacitor fairly quickly. So at some point, as I said earlier, you have to decide, do you want to reduce the amount of incoming damage by keeping your speed up, or do you want to keep your maximum reps up? Both sides have their pros and cons. I'm also running all missile launchers on targets at this point, simply for efficiency. After I get to the last one, I do eventually cut that down, mostly to save on ammunition, since the drones do a good enough job. From this point here, you're going to notice a few adjustments to the video as it goes. First off, I'll realize that my camera is turned off and turn that on. Also, I'll discover that my voice is not being recorded for crap, and so I will be correcting my microphone. I've also sped this up to 2.5 times speed because at this point this is where we chase down the Ravens. I don't think there's too much to say about that, except this is the reason why you want the drone link augmentation, because if not, you'd be waiting until approximately 52 to 56 kilometers before your drones can pick up in, and that just makes this take that much longer. So, yep. From there, just keep going, I guess. range. Oh shoot, I'm on the wrong target. You get the heavy launchers on. Second, it's launching heavy launchers. Heavy missiles because it's about down. We'll get those heavy missiles launched. Reloaded while I'm getting closer to range. At this point in time, seeing no significant damage, down to a single Raven. That Raven will be going down here shortly. Almost within long-range missile range. Now it's an LRM range. LRM is going active. There's like 4 sets of LRMs for every cruise that gets launched. Already in armor. And looks like I am being muted by the Raven. Yes, I realize I keep saying LRM here. I really mean heavy missile. So, yeah, that's what that is. Because I'm at maximum range, it's really not really affecting combat capacity at all. And should be done. The drones finished their job. Reload. Get those drones back in. Point the nose at the Garista's forwarding. Because in truth, I was really hoping to see those caracals. I really want to do a good test against the caracal spawn. Now apparently, the last minor spawn I went after actually wound up being it was not the standard combination damage kestrels. It was actually an Osprey and let's see here. It shows Final Blow Caracal Garista's production, but there were a good 7 or 8 of them. But I was configured anticipating the Kestrel impact response, not the Caracal response. So that actually cost me the ship. Make a note of that. We'll definitely need to see. I don't know if you can change out your system using a mobile depot in the middle of combat. I think that'd be something to look into. We're going to go ahead, since nothing has popped out. Actually, you know what?
Warp drive active.
We're going to warp at it. So, yeah, here I warp in, deal with a mobile tractor unit, and then warp out to do the necessary change into the Reaper format to complete the battle. But we don't care about it, so yeah, we're skipping it. Deal with that MTU. Locking on. All right. Oh, start the timer. And we're going loud. Timer has been stopped, excuse me, for the repair timer. Now, some people might disagree with my decision to use sentry cannons. It's more of a experimental thing, but here we are, a minute in, and we're down by about 3% structure. So 35 minutes ish. And you just hear boom, boom, boom. And we'll call it about 2% a minute. So 50 minutes, roughly. Depending on how many smashes I get from the drones. Yeah, just a regular thrumming of more boom and more boom and more boom. Oh, and some cellular interference. As of right now, my torpedo impacts are 6,000 damage per impact. So I am definitely over the threshold for repairs. These are just standard Inferno torpedoes. If I were to bump them up to a higher level torpedo, then that would just be that much more damage. The reason I'm using standard Inferno torpedoes is to prove that it can be done using the standard torpedoes. One full rack will take you down by about the unit down by about 10%. So you can expect to reload at least 10 times. Sorry, 9 times. Yeah, 9 times from full. Here we are, 5 minutes 35 seconds in, already at 90% structure, and we're getting ready to have to reload the missiles. Torpedoes.
A module has run out of charges.
You see, reloading. 6 minutes and 10 seconds in, we're doing a reload. And engaging fire as soon as reload is done. Alright, more boom boom. That's it. And we're back being muted. Again, it's not that big of a deal on this ship because no weapon systems explicitly rely on that. I gotta be honest. Right here, these grazes. This bothers me. Because you get a lot more of them from the guards. Which suggests that perhaps I need to take glances off. Which suggests that I'm going to have to reconsider the guards. I was really looking for a reason to use them because I have them. Just not really thrilled at how often they tend to deflect and glance. You're hitting a massive stationary target. How hard is it to hit that? At least with the other drones, there's a reason why they having a difficult. They could have a realistic reason for having some difficulty hitting, and that's literally that they're flying around the base, not that they. I'm also comparing integrated ogres to guard ones. And if I wanted to make it fair, I should probably compare them against navies. Navy guards. As of right now, these guards just I don't think they're doing as well as I was hoping that they would. Let's see. 64 points of damage with a 4.7 times multiplier. Versus still 64, with a much higher damage multiplier. So that's probably a huge difference as to what I'm seeing there. It's probably why we're seeing such a massive difference. Let's see. Guard 2. Well, I need to put it in the context of my ship design, which means I'd have to use PIFA for that. PYFA. So, who knows? Maybe instead of running guards, I'll just have to run ogres for this particular part. It's not too much of a serious swap out. It just kind of sucks because I was really looking forward to running some guards. But it looks like the guards actually slowing down the process. Ready for the second reload. 12 and a half minutes in, 78% structure.
A module has run out of charges.
I also want to point out we're currently running at a time dilation at 87%. Now, I honestly don't know how to read that. I'm not sure if that means that I need to find the average tie-dye for this whole run and then do the math to see approximately how long this will take. Ultimately, I think that means on the main server it'll be faster. One thing I'd like to point out, though, is this may mean you'll have to carry more torpedoes, but this ship may be realistically usable for Poco bashing. Oh, here we go, back with the energy drain. 75%, 15 minutes. Alright, so maybe about an hour. But again, I'm dealing with time dilation. So instead of continuously recording this bash, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut the recording out. I'll start recording if I start seeing something more interesting and splice together. As of right now, I'm showing a video of 49 minutes. So I guess that would include the previous combo, which again was not against the big spawn that I was hoping to get. I really thought I was going to have it based off of what I saw when I started in. But if anything happens, I'll restart the stream, the recording, and go from there. All right, here we are at 5% hull. Just dropped to 4% hull. And we just broke the 1 hour mark on dropping torpedoes on the station. Now, I would like to point out that there's a high likelihood we would have been further along with the, if it weren't for the human error side of momentarily looking away from the screen to take care of household chores. And causing some loss of firepower from the torpedoes. Fastest way to see that is to take a look at how much time is left over. So, call it approximately a minute and a half, 2 minutes lost to human error. Then we also have to factor in the time dilation, which has varied from 93 or 98, something to that effect, to 73%. But the variation did not follow a steady pattern, so I would feel remiss. Like right now, it's down to 70. So I would feel remiss to estimate how much of this time spent was the cause of tie-dye. There you go. The structure's about to blow, so we'll back it up. As you see, we're on our last 1,000 torpedoes. Currently showing at 840 remaining. This should be the last rack that I need to finish the job, and I started at 3,000. Even. So here we go. Let that finish up, and then I will discuss what I have learned. And for the more astute of you, yes, I am doing laundry. Here we go. Here comes the big bang. Boom. Let's go ahead and call in the drones. Yeah, there we go. I really wish that it was more of an animation than just, oh look, now it's shattered. Alright. here is the kill report. Oh. 1 hour and 2.5 minutes. Approximately. As you see, 2 million, almost 3 million in damage done according to this by Torpedo. We know that to be not entirely true. Torpedo was the main damage application, but was not the only damage application. So, what did we get out of this? Alright. Now we know that the initial attack on the FOB tends to determine what's going to come out after you. Now, it is not an exaggeration to say that my exploration ship was dropped by a stack of caracals. That is absolutely true. What I want to draw your attention to, however, is this kill report where I was destroyed by a large number of caracals. This was supposed to be the mining defense fleet. When it dropped in, there was at least 1 Osprey, at least 7 caracals, and I do not remember if there were any kestrels or condors or blackbirds. Is blackbird the one I'm thinking of? Hold on a second, I'm just double checking. Yeah, blackbirds. Okay, so I was thinking of the right thing. I also discovered that mid-combat, you can actually use the fitting service of a mobile depot. If there's anything worthwhile. That's a lot of no. Alright. So, what this means is that... Actually, we're going to turn back to gameplay. There are... I have this Praxis set up to operate in 3 modes. This Praxis is set up to operate... This is what I call the Reaper mode, where this is where you do all of your damage to the FOB. So, 4 control systems, 4 ballistic control systems. I have 1 C3X ballistic control because. Not because I think you should specifically use it, but because I happen to own one. That may or may not make it to the actual field variant. Okay. And so then we also... Let's see, do I have my Praxis fits in here? No, I do not. Reaper. Alright, so we have the Praxis Reaper. This is meant for finishing off the actual FOB itself. Now you will need to turn off. I turn off the battery, and I turn off the drone link augmenter, because at that point we're operating in extremely close range. And the reality is that if I run out of battery, this ship is self-sustainable in a non-damage situation. So it's not critical. I leave the thermal hardener and the reactive armor hardener in case, just in case, someone drops in. It leaves me with a little bit of defense. Not a whole lot. But because I don't have any, it won't have any reps available. Alright, so moving on. We're going to take a moment to skip my terribly flawed refitting setup, because that just took way too long. Reports. Controls. And now we go back on. Large arm reps. Hey. Alright. Now we have this setup. And this would be what I call the Banshee edition, the Banshee edition. This is the fitting that will be used for dealing with the defensive fleet. It says that it's... oh wait, it's missing a piece. Haha. And the drone link augmenter is actually extremely important to this fit, because the main objective is to get the drones out as far as possible. Now, this would be the fit I would say if you're getting ready to go into your main setup, your main combat situation. This is what you're going to want. In this section here, I start to ramble on about various design applications that mostly just tend to kind of work together in weird ways, such as discussing the fits that I have and trying to put them up on screen. I forgot that I had my filters there, so you couldn't see them. Discussing the fact that I'm not running all cap chargers 2 to save a little bit of cash. And trying to point out some of the differences between the Reaper and the Banshee, which you can see on your own, and I don't think I have to explain them. Now, as we discovered, the guards may need to be replaced. Now, the next issue is one where I think it needs to be considered logically. In my experience, I've run into several mining fleets that consist of kestrels and the like, and while on a pure thermal defense, those kestrels and the kestrels are actually launching also kinetic at you as well, which means your kinetic shreds through. And you would think that this reactive armor hardener would drop everything into kinetic, but in my experience, it doesn't. While we're in thermal, it will bounce up very heavily into thermal, 93 to 95%. This shows 93. I've seen it pulling 94, so that's, debatable. However, the moment... Actually, you know what? Here, let me bring this up on the screen. Alright. So, here we go, 93%. And this is set to pure thermal, because that's what we expect for the FOB. But we switch this over to Caristas, and we still have way too much in thermal. As I was saying, we have way too much in thermal, but no thermal coming in. So if we swap out one of these hardeners, now all of a sudden we're cutting off 73% of the incoming kinetic. If we swap out another thermal for the second kinetic, now all of a sudden we are dropping off an awfully large amount of damage between the thermal at 73.5 and the kinetic at 83.7%. Now again, mind you, this is based off of my personal design. Alright, this is not necessarily, and my personal skill ratings. And while this is showing as stable, what you don't see is I've only got one armor repairer up and running. So the moment I turn on that armor repairer, you get a really nice big bump up to repairs. But I'm not going to last as long. And so you have to decide, do you want speed to avoid explosions, or do you want repairs to batten down those hatches? But this is what I would consider to be the Spectre defense, where I don't think I forgot to save it. Copy this one, and we're going to name it Spectre. Now, yeah, so there we go. We now have all three concepts where you'll swap out two thermals or kinetics. Now this is something you're going to have to decide to do on the fly. So you're going to need to make this decision before your shields are completely gone, because if you wait too long, then you're going to lose your shields and you're going to be into your armor and you're going to be screwed. So you need to, when going into these mining fleets, either be in Spectre condition or be in Banshee condition, because those are going to be what you're going to be facing. You need to be able to swap between them quickly and efficiently to maintain functionality. The other point that I need to touch on is the Guard may not be where we want to go. We may need to go to 3 Ogres and 2 Hobgoblins, which has a small damage improvement over 4 Ogres. So at that point in time, you have to decide what works best for you. You are, after all, the captain, so it's your job to make that decision. So yeah, that's my research on SISI for a Praxis FOB solo machine for baristas. Now, I have not yet worked on a functional concept for blood raiders, mostly because I've discovered that the blood raiders is how can I put this? The incoming damage is very great. Like, seriously, it's a lot to factor in, especially when you realize that you have to cut down damage for 2 different damage types, much like, well, actually, I can't say much like the standard Garista attack format, because the standard Garista attack format may have 2 damage formats, but it's not it's not split very even. It's not split very evenly, so it's very heavily kinetic. So if you drop out the majority of the kinetic incoming damage, then you're good to go. But if you leave the kinetic incoming damage as a low priority for defense, you're going to lose your ship. So these are things to take into consideration. I haven't done the rattlesnake to compare yet. I'm actually thinking about doing that now. Just to go ahead and do a quick comparison to see which one works best. But this is what I have. So that's it. This is the Wolf signing off. Fly safe and take care.